you spent the first part of your career inside an advertising and promotion world. You've built these paid campaigns for some of the biggest brands on the planet. So when you look at most operators who are spending on ads today, what are you what do you think is quietly eating away at these margins that they're not paying attention to?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a big lament that I have pretty much every day when I wake up. I look at brands and how they have become so short term focused. Part of this was the advent of social media advertising, where you could get immediate feedback to measure how many clicks you got or how many likes you got. And all of a sudden, these measures have become proxies for brand health or brand success or marketing success within these organizations. And it's become institutionalized. So now we have generations of, I'll call them marketers, of people that are coming up in these organizations responsible for promoting these brands. And they're really not taking a step back to look at how they win over the long run. They've become very focused on short-term results, short-term metrics, things that make you feel good. I call them the dopamine metrics, right? But they're not really building a strategy. And it actually is the topic of my latest book called The Long Game. And I talk a lot about this. And I think that we need to take a step back in the marketing world, understand what marketing actually is. I think a lot of people have gotten it confused with sales. There's a chapter in my book about that. Marketing is sort of laying the groundwork for predisposing consumers to want to buy a product. It's not actually selling the product. That's the job of sales. And I think that they've gotten quite blurred with the advent of this quick communication and quick response media that has developed over the past 20 years. And now we're we're in a bad place in terms of people understanding how to build brands. The example that I use all the time, which is a glaring example because it got so big and then got so small again, was Prime Hydration. Yeah, I think you're familiar with it. I'm sure your audience is familiar with
Oh
Prime
yeah.
Hydration. It was founded by Jake Paul, I think,
Yep.
or one of the Pauls, Logan Paul.
Logan Paul. Logan Paul. Yeah.
They used their clout in social media to build the brand up to $1 billion in sales within 2 years, which if you've ever built
Great job.
anything, it's pretty impressive, right? To be
Yeah.
able to get to $1 billion in any business. But within the 2 years after that, it went all the way down to less than $100 million. And that rise and fall was because the brand wasn't built on any particular foundation. They were using social media and attention and the scale of their audience to drive a lot of sales. But that Prime brand didn't actually mean anything to anyone. People were buying it once. It wasn't a very good product. Didn't taste very good. They weren't building any repeat patterns of purchase. They weren't giving anybody a reason. And the brand just kind of died on its own weight because there was no foundation. And you contrast that to someone like Red Bull, who's very carefully crafted a brand story. They've given meaning to their product. They've been consistent for 2 decades telling that story about Red Bull gives you wings. It's a great campaign. Everyone's smiling right now because they've seen the ads.
Oh yeah.
And the brand is stable and strong and continues to grow. That's really the difference. And I see less of the Red Bull examples and too many of the Prime examples when I'm talking to brands today.